Okay. Can you guys see it?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so I have a bunch of slides, but thanks for having me, Scott, and really good to see good population, good participation from various people coming on to attend this session. As Scott said, I'm the enterprise CTO in Microsoft. I focus on technology strategy across the Microsoft product stack, across cloud and AI product stack, and specifically in the fintech and capital markets industry. That's my focus area. In the past, I have built a lot of money movement engines and deposit systems, some of the robo advisors for tier one banks. So if you are using one of those, you can imagine the risk. I hope you did not lose any money yet. But that's my background and expertise from the past. I focus a lot on the enterprise technology research side, Web3 and large language models. Those are my focus area at this point, and very keen and interested in the Green Software Foundation specifically, because we have been building some ecosystem of people, some of the standards and tools, which I'm going to talk about. Um, if you think about the impact of the change in the temperature, even a half a degree can result into significant impact. So you must be hearing a lot about finding another planet to live and finding the right transportation to go to the other planet. The increase in the temperature is one of the reasons. So anything that is within our powers to reduce that climate change is something that we should all focus on. And because we are all somehow connected with the softwares and software engineering practices, so anything that we should do or can do in order to reduce the impact of climate impact of softwares, negative impact of softwares on climate change, we should do that. So Bing Copilot, I'm not sure if anybody has used it yet, but I'm sure people must be hearing a lot about it. So I asked Bing Copilot the view of planet, and I asked, can Bing create a digital image that portrays the planet if we don't meet our carbon goals? And this is what the image turned out to be. And then I asked,
Sorry,
can
Ravi,
you?
I'm
Yes.
eating pizza, so I apologize. My mouth is full. We don't see that. We only see the green
Mhm.
software slide. We're still on slide one.
Oh, you're still on slide one.
Yeah, we got it.
Oh.
Screen.
Yeah. Did you hear that?
Sharing a different screen.
You may be sharing. I actually didn't realize you were not. You might have been in presentation mode. We're seeing your screen with the thumbnails on the left.
In the
They were saying-
presentation notes on the bottom.
They were saying PowerPoint.
So which screen do you see right now? What do you see currently?
Copilot.
Copilot.
Views of the planet.
But we can see the whole PowerPoint.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we see your
the
speaker
slides on the
notes.
left.
Not that there are
It's
any.
not full screen.
Okay. And now do you see the Copilot slide?
It's in presenter mode now.
You're almost there. Go to the top where it says display settings,
Yeah, switch. You can rotate.
display settings, one over,
Right?
Right?
and then I think you can swap right
You
there.
can swap. Yeah. Swap.
And
Okay. Okay.
Boom.
There you go.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. So that was the.
I didn't realize. I just thought you had the notes up. Okay. Continue back to the impact of the image. Yeah.
Yeah. So the impact of so Copilot came up with this particular image, and then I asked Copilot, "Can you be less apocalyptic?" And it came up with this image. And then certainly, let's imagine a sustainable future. So it came up with this image. So, obviously, Copilot is able to imagine the impact of climate change. So, these are some of the AI focused futuristic images that we can see. So there's definitely, some impact that AI is also able to predict of climate change. Um, so as part of Green Software Foundation, obviously we are building that trusted ecosystem of people, standards, tooling, and best practices for green software. And it's going into the third year of its existence. In fact, fourth year of its existence. And it was started by someone called Ashim Hussain, who worked for Microsoft at some point. And now he's the executive director of Green Software Foundation, with over 50 different companies are part of the Green Software Foundation at this point. Are you guys aware of the Green Software Foundation at all, or is that something new?
It's new to a lot of us.
Yeah.
Pretty new, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so as part of the Green Software Foundation, on its own, software doesn't really consume energy or emit any harmful discharge. The problem really lies in the way software is developed for use and then in the way it is used. So software runs on hardware, and as the former continues to grow, so does the reliance on the machines to make it run. So building green software requires translating it into a higher quality product, and higher quality product that's leaner, cleaner, and much more fit for its purpose. So the key benefits that we kind of envision of green software, it should be low energy consumption. It has to be decreased operational costs, as well as enhanced brand reputation. So these are some of the key benefits that we see of the green software. Heightened customer loyalty, because everyone should care about the green software and the reduced impact, negative impact of software. And also the simpler architecture is key aspect of the green software as well. The faster computing speed, and that's also one of the benefits that we kind of envision. And less downtime, quicker updates, more usage, so less of a waste of the software and computing. So these are some of the benefits. As part of the Green Software Foundation, our theory of change is, obviously it has been defined, the mission has been defined, how we build the software so there's less harmful environment effects. Our vision is to build a trusted ecosystem that we talked about. And primarily the software practitioners and all the connected ecosystem of software practitioners, as well as the policymakers and anyone who is basically related to software engineering. That's the purpose or the focus audience for us, as part of the Green Software Foundation. And so overall, these are some of the foundational principles and mission, vision, and target audience that we have been defining.
Ravi, quick question,
Yes.
just
Yes.
people here would like to know are you able to share these slides with us? After that, like share, like export this into a PDF or something like that?
I can share some of it, yes.
Okay, that would be great.
Mhm.
Thank you. I think the question was, should we be taking screenshots of all of these slides or not? Thank you.
Yeah. You should not be taking screenshots of all of these. Yeah. So
JK.
So the fundamentals of the green software, one aspect of it is we want to make sure that everyone learns about the principles, and also we have various patterns and designs that we have been incubating as part of the, collateral development. So that's available. That's going to be available as part of the Green Software Foundation tooling, and then measuring the SCI, the uh, carbon impact. So those measurement and specifications are also getting defined. What makes a software greener? Well, carbon efficiency is the key aspect. So emitting least amount of carbon possible, which includes three parts. So energy efficiency, making more energy efficient software that consumes the least amount of electricity possible. And that's one key building block. And then hardware efficiency. So using the least amount of embodied carbon possible. And then awareness, which is, do more when the electricity is clean and less when it's dirty. So all the optimization aspects are part of this green software efficiency basic building blocks. I will talk specifically about the green software engineering at Microsoft specifically. What is it and how do we enable the green software engineering at Microsoft? So our vision is fully aligned with the Green Software Foundation to a large extent. And so we focus on the end-to-end software lifecycle, which includes all the personas that are involved as part of the software development. So that includes the software engineers, the UX designers, developers, or data scientists, or QA testing, as well as product managers. Everyone has to be involved, and everyone have to focus on building sustainable software and green software, follow the practices. It also behooves us to be inclusive of all stages of development. So green software principles should not be only followed during the software engineering and software development lifecycle, but it has to span across every aspect of software development. So that's also one of the key focus area. Sustainable software is broader than just carbon. We should also consider the natural resources usage and the social and environmental justice impacts of software too. So it's not just about focusing on the carbon emission, but making software more sustainable by including various other components, various other aspects. That's also a key focus for us. So these are some of the key principles that we have defined. And as I said, that Microsoft's core focus area from the green software engineering practices standpoint, it's pretty much aligned with the Green Software Foundation. Various companies are following the same standards, including Accenture and ThoughtWorks and several others. There are many more companies that are involved as part of this initiative than the logos that you see here. The latest is available in the website. So I already covered these aspects in the previous slide, but again, less hardware usage, less energy consumption, and using more renewable energy. Those are some of the key basic building blocks in terms of defining the green software. And then how is green software different than sustainable software? Well, sustainable software is a new consideration. So there are more components or more aspects that are defined as part of the sustainable software than just a green software and the carbon emission. So cost optimization is one aspect, but just purchasing more server capacity in bulk, that doesn't mean that may be cheaper, but that doesn't mean that it's saving of energy. it may result into waste. So optimizing the cost, optimizing the usage, those are key aspects. So one of the key considerations is how to optimize the overall usage of any kind of server or compute capacity. Not sure if you know about the Azure Copilot, but it's one of the AI capability that is built in within the Azure portal for the cloud administrators. So the Azure Copilot has the capability to suggest the right usage of the compute capacity and the software. It provides several recommendations. So um, it's one of the examples of how do we optimize the compute usage. And then the performance optimization. So overall, increasing application speed may create a rebound effect of increased use and energy consumption. So overall, the performance optimization is one of the key considerations as part of the software green software initiative. And then battery life optimization as well is another key component. So optimizing software to improve battery life is different than making software sustainable. Many battery powered devices consume more power than plugged in devices. So focusing on that aspect of battery life optimization is also one of the key focus area from green software development standpoint. Now, this is a specification of software carbon intensity, SCI. So, there is a formula for defining the software carbon intensity. It's one of the key measurement criteria. So, later down the slides, I will talk about some of the key aspects or key tooling that we have built in, which is also available within the Microsoft's marketplace. So those tools and the capabilities are already available in order to measure seamlessly the software carbon intensity. So underlying formula for that measurement and calculation is based on what you see here. Yeah, so some of the green software tools that are available, these are links that I can share with you. But Cloud Sustainability Data Platform is one of those tools. It basically has core platform for measuring the carbon emissions from our data centers. So it can calculate the overall carbon emissions across the usage region and different availability zones. So if you are building a software and if you have chosen a particular Azure region, you can actually calculate the carbon emission of your software for that particular region of use. And
That
then,
inclusive, quick question on that. Is
Yeah.
that inclusive of scope 1, 2, and 3?
that's the idea. It's it's supposed to include scope 1, 2, and 3. The overall calculation is basically evolving. So I would say yes, that's the future state vision. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you.
Sure. Yeah, and then there's Azure Emissions Impact Dashboard. So it's an app which is available, and it can break down the cloud platform data by different customers for Azure cloud usage, and it basically provides the very precise information about the emissions impact. So for, let's say, the Office 365 or Microsoft 365 product, which includes the Office suite, if someone wants to measure the holistic carbon emissions impact, this particular tool can be used in order to bring out that information. Many of the companies are leveraging that in order to calculate or project their sustainability report. So that's also one of the tools that's available. Then Azure Spend and CloudFit. This is another tool which breaks down the cloud platform data with reduction actions for Azure services. It's an internal tool. At some point, it will probably be available for external use as well. Then M365 emissions impact dashboard. So we talked about the Azure impact dashboard, and then M365 emissions impact dashboard basically brings out that emissions impact measurement for the Office 365 Teams and SharePoint and OneDrive platforms. And then the carbon minutes and telemetry inventory management plan. So this is specifically for the Xbox devices. So the gaming devices have this carbon minutes and telemetry inventory. And this is also something that people can leverage in order to understand the overall carbon impact. And then the engine and telemetry inventory management. It's for the Surface devices, the Surface suite of products, the devices that we have. This particular tool can be used in order to understand the overall telemetry. So these are some of the tools that are available already, and it kind of outlines the way all of the measurements are done. In addition to that, there are multiple trainings, and those trainings are available as well. So sustainability in action, in the Microsoft Learn platform, you can find the sustainability in actions batch and a training, and also the principles of sustainability software engineering. These are some of the trainings that are available publicly. In addition to that, there are tools like CloudFit training. It's again about the usage and carbon emissions of Azure as a platform, as a cloud platform. And then there's Azure EID, which calculates the carbon emissions for cloud-based computing. Then M365 EID emissions impact dashboard. So these are some of the things that we discussed in the previous slide as well. So this is some sustainability guidance for Microsoft Cloud and Azure. There are certain architecture design principles and also reference architectures that we have defined, which we use. If you see here, the Azure Advisor, this is one tool which is available within Azure as a cloud platform. It provides all kinds of recommendations, and the extension of this in the form of AI is the Azure Copilot that I was referring to. So the AI within the Azure platform is able to provide some of the recommendations, which includes some of the sustainability related information as well, that can be found out very seamlessly by anyone who has the access to Azure portal. So they can just ask in natural language any questions related to sustainability or the usage, and the Azure Copilot will be able to provide that information. So overall, there are certain guidances and reference architecture and principles that are defined, which kind of aids in doing the software development in a green principles fashion. So overall, these are some of the engineering principles that are available internally. And then the green software tools that are externally available. So there is a code base called codecarbon.io. It's a Python code which basically tracks the CO2 emissions for your computing usage. So that's available. Then energy usage is another code base that's available. And then carbon tracker, it basically predicts the energy consumption of carbon footprint. Um, so these are some of the code bases that are available. Then overall, if you think about any other hyperscaler, so the cloud-based platforms are available across multiple cloud. AWS has the Green Cost Explorer. We talked about the emissions impact dashboard for Microsoft. Then, Google has Cloud Jewels, and there are multi-cloud for carbon footprint capabilities that are available. And if we think about the AI, so there's a experiment impact tracker library, which basically calculates the carbon cost of ML jobs. So that's a useful tool and utility. And then there are a few others here. So these are some of the things that are available to be leveraged right away. And the one which I've seen being used very widely now is Beaker. It's created by the Allen Institute for AI in Seattle, and it basically captures the GPU power inside a container. So you should definitely check it out. So I'll send some of the links that are available here, and then from the OS side, there are multiple additional tools that are available, both for bare metal machines as well as for cloud. So, these are some of the additional tools that are available here. Any questions, anything that I should address?
Is now the Q&A?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, I have many more slides, and the overall, we have a community of people who are basically focusing on the green software engineering within Microsoft. Most of them are volunteers. At the same time, there is an internal team that is focusing specifically on sustainability under the chief sustainability officer. But across the company, there are different roles and different people who are volunteering to contribute into that overall tooling development, the principles that we kind of propagate across the company, the reference architecture, and also creating tools that can be shared across, even outside of Microsoft. So across business units, we have been tracking how many people are following or are being part of the software engineering community, green software engineering community in Microsoft. So there are multiple roles and multiple groups who are basically following this community and contributing into it. The cloud and AI team is leading the chart overall. So that's a tracking that we have.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, do you have a way to measure the impact of the application? Is it sustainable or not?
Yeah, impact of a application that's built on cloud, you mean?
Well, yeah, built and deployed to cloud, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you check is it reserving too much of data and then it's using less, and is it optimizing the processes, or do you have a way to measure? Is it give a mark? Is it 1 star, 5 star, and
Yeah. No, that's a great point, a great question. We do have certain ways of measuring the impact of a particular software that's been deployed on Azure, for example. And so there are tools which basically provide, I would say, higher level metrics. for measuring the carbon emissions impact. Um, the drill down of a particular resource within an application, that drill down and granularity may not be available yet, but holistically it can be measured. There are tools that are available. If you think about, let's say, if you're deploying an application on Azure resources, we can measure the emissions impact of those Azure resources as a whole, and provide that metrics.
But that would be the number that given, okay, you consume that much of the kilowatts and this is your emission, right? So it's
Yes.
basically, this is how much you size, like elephant in the room, this is much like you impact on the environment.
Correct.
But if you, as a cloud provider, source this energy from the nuclear plant, it's green energy, right?
Correct. Yeah. So that that goes back to the source of energy and the sustainable source of energy. For example, the nuclear energy. That measurement is more holistic at a cloud platform and data center level, as opposed to an application level. So if you think about the energy that is basically powering a particular data center, it may be a mix of sustainable energy and carbon focused energy. So at this point, making that differentiation between what energy source is being used by a particular application, that may not be possible. But at some point, if let's say a data center becomes fully fueled by sustainable energy and nuclear energy, that will be a good measurement. That type of measurement for energy efficiency and energy sustainability will be possible in future.
Okay, yeah, thanks. And just following question. If you go back to Copilot, do you suggest like certain way to implement the software to like reduce the emissions? Or like it's not yet implemented in terms of Copilot suggesting the better different way?
So I did not clearly hear your question. So your question is that if you deploy Copilot.
No. If you use Copilot to develop software,
Mhm.
would it suggest a different way to implement the code in the way that it's greener, sustainable?
Okay. Yeah. So you probably are talking about the GitHub Copilot specifically, where it can provide the code suggestions.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's an effort to focus on the green software engineering practices within the GitHub Copilot as well. So in future, the GitHub Copilot and all the code suggestions will make sure that it's more energy efficient. At the same time, it's following the green software engineering practices. So all of those principles and the practices will be baked in within the GitHub Copilot. To a large extent, it's already doing that. But the future state is that we will have Copilot code suggestions that will follow or be compliant 100% with the green software engineering practices.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, are code suggestions a waste of energy?
Well, and why do you say that?
Well, I mean, what's the percentage of like a chat prompt actually being used in code?
Yeah, so according to some of the studies, 60% of the code is coming from the AI softwares, and that's a very generalized information. But yeah, so a large amount of code is actually being suggested by AI. And if you think about what's the value of automation, if you are spending, let's say, uh, 1 hour in writing a code, and the same code is suggested by AI within few seconds, you are you are basically consuming less energy of compute, and you are basically using less compute power, um, right?
You're
So from
comparing that brain compute to energy compute? No.
Well, the point is that compiler suggests you the code that is reduced, right? So that if you like try to tackle the problem that someone else solved it, you just reuse this code. Like this is not inventing bicycle because there are many problems already solved. Like, people just try to find the same problem and then implement it.
That's more of a compiler optimization than the AI stuff. Because AI just
Yeah.
give you the source code.
Yes, it's
Then the
generic.
compiler
Yes.
is just compile
Well,
it to
yeah,
machine code.
the AI is supposed to give you generic answer and then you implement it and compile it, give you like runtime object. So like it's a matter of how you use the code, right? But I experienced this. It's more like giving you better like opinion to solve it, but it's your choice. Is it use it or not use it? So
Yeah, ultimately, it's like a human being making a decision, discerning whether this is gonna be a good approach or not. So I had a question. Is there really any like dramatic difference between Azure regions, Azure data centers in terms of energy efficiency? Like, are they all pretty much, it's pretty much a wash, right? So you've got data centers all over the world, in every continent. Are there some that are running with a nuclear reactor right next door, right? Or with powered by wind power, or are they all pretty much, is it a wash? Are they pretty much the same?
Well, as you said, there are certain regions where more renewable and sustainable energy is available, and also certain data centers are basically built with the sustainable ecosystem in mind. So there is obviously a difference if you are using one region versus the other. If you're using a sustainable region, um, that's less energy consumption, more green and sustainable, um, as opposed to some other region. At the same time, when you are, let's say, if you are region agnostic, you are load balancing across multiple regions, it's hard to assess that whether you are 100% sustainable, you're leveraging 100% sustainable energy, or you're basically using a mix of everything. So, I think at some future point, there will be tagging of the data centers, which will say that it's 100% sustainable energy fueled, and it has all the capabilities that follows 100% of the sustainable energy principles, and it will be publicly disclosed. And that's just my perception and my prediction of the future. But at this point, I think you're right that it's a mix of all possible energy sources and all the different regions that are using mix of different sources.
Thanks so much, Tony, and thanks so much, Ravi. We went a bit over purposefully, but we should wrap it up now.